This is The Sports Life.
Marcus Mariota in the shotgun, gets the snap, drops back at his 35 to pass. Mariota bumps off one defender, rolls to the right, tries to elude another one, and yet another one. Rolls to his left at his own 30. Mariota just flings that one down the left side of the field. Intercepted by Eli Apple at the 25. And Apple will go to the ground at the 32, and that's it. Ohio State national champions for the 8th time as they defeat Oregon 42-20.
And welcome into the Sports Life. Will Tiemann here along with Dalton Scheller as we salute the year 2014 in the Big Ten. What a big game for the Buckeyes to beat Oregon for the national championship, as Paul Keels just said. But who would have guessed, Dalton, that soon Ohio State would have to beat Oregon to win a Big Ten championship?
Crazy how everything's come full circle there. And by the way, that was the first ever college football playoff that year, 2014.
Well, this week we have somewhat of a special show lined up for you, as we're going to bring on as guest Carol Hutchins, the all-time winningest coach in the history of Michigan athletics. Yes, she is a Hall of Famer when it comes to softball, but there was no better coach at winning games in Michigan's history than her. And she's going to be visiting with Jacquie Joseph, also a legendary coach in softball in Michigan State. And just for more fun, as these two talk about each other, talk about their sport, keep in mind they're also high school buddies, and they go way, way back. And this is our way of paying tribute to the sport as we're having our College World Series. But first, Sounds of the Week, 2014. So, Dalton, what do we got?
There are a couple of other good moments for teams in the Big Ten outside of Ohio State. One, how about Northwestern? The Wildcats, Cardiac Cats, get an upset over Notre Dame thanks to a game-winning field goal called by the voice of Northwestern, Dave Ennett.
This will be a 41-yard drive from the left hash angle to the right. His kick three, he had one blocked to win it for Northwestern. Here's the snap. Here's the placement. Kick by Mitchell, rises to the uprights. It is good! The Wildcats win! Jack Mitchell hits the field goal! And the Cats have stunned the Fighting Irish yet again. The Cardiac Cats are back, 43-40.
Like Dave Ennett said, yet again, they've done it a couple times.
And what a great moment that is for Northwestern, getting the huge upset win over Notre Dame. That's certainly a nice salute to have of 2014. And also, there was a record set in 2014 in Big Ten football. You might remember a running back by the name of Melvin Gordon. He was torching defenses there at Wisconsin. He ran for 408 yards against Nebraska, and this is what it sounded like in that one afternoon with the voice of the Badgers, Matt LePay.
Straight I formation on 2nd and 10 from the Nebraska 26-yard line. Here comes Melvin to the 25, to the 20, Gordon 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Wisconsin! Record-breaking run, Melvin Gordon, 408.
Melvin Gordon, the NCAA rushing champ after that carry. And, of course, Matt LePay on the call, as we said. When you said he rushed for 408 yards against Nebraska, you can go through a lot of games and you can take the rushing of two teams and you don't get 408 yards.
You'd have a hard time just planning out an evening and getting on your video game and trying to run for 408 yards with a guy.
There's some teams you could go, well, we played 6 games this year and we're at 408 yards.
Crazy.
Well, today's Sports Life is a very, very special encore presentation. It's a conversation between two friends, two longtime competitors, and two legends in the game of college softball, Carol Hutchins and Jacquie Joseph. It is a conversation worth listening to. We will have it in just a moment.
Finding that missing shin guard, remembering whether it's a home or away game, getting the right kid to the right playing field on the right day. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. We work with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like not being that fan.
Oh, come on, ref!
That's simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
Let's go, Spartans. Let's go Labatt Blue Light. When you drink a pristine Canadian Pilsner, you're good at beer. Spartan fans, grab a Labatt Blue Light, the official import beer of Spartan Athletics, and be good at beer. always enjoy responsibly. Beer, copyright 2021, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York, all rights reserved. Labatt registered U.S. trademark of Labatt Brewing Company, Limited.
Do you love watching television? If you're on a fixed budget, you need to make this free call right now to Dish and find out how you can get a fixed monthly price to watch all the television you want for 3 full years. In addition to a 3-year price guarantee, you can also get free monthly movie rentals. They give you 1 free movie rental every month. That's a $165 value, yours free. Plus, get free in-home tech visits, no-cost equipment replacements, a free voice remote, and you can watch commercial-free TV. Even access all your favorite apps to stream like Netflix, Amazon Prime, YouTube, and more. Now is the perfect time to call Dish. Take advantage of the 3-year price guarantee. Save yourself some money, and all your equipment is free. Call right now.
800-557-7920. 800-557-7920. 800-557-7920. That's 800-557-7920. Paid for by NPS.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
We all make choices. When it comes to alcohol, kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Hey, have a seat for a second. Remind me about that party again?
Alex is just...
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. They want guidance and honest answers to their questions. And it makes a difference when the message is consistent and part of everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
And welcome back for more of the Sports Life. Will Team here along with Dalton Shetler. Well, as we said before the break, we're going to bring on some insightful conversation about two of the best when it comes to coaching the sport of women's softball. We have Jacquie Joseph. Well, she's only the all-time winningest softball coach in the history of Michigan State, and she has a lifelong friend. Her name is Carol Hutchins. And Carol Hutchins just happens to be the all-time winningest coach in the history of Division I sports. By the way, the number is 1,707. In 2005, Carol led the Wolverines to the national title. That marked the first time ever a team east of the Mississippi actually won that national championship. But that was not Carol's first national title. You got to go back to 1976. She was a starting shortstop on the Michigan State national championship team, believe it or not. And with that, that is where this conversation began.
I do remember this. This is what I love about you. You were responsible in 1995, that fall. It was the, 20-year reunion.
It would have been
of
the
our
20th year of the
national
spring
championship team, as we won it in 1976. The Spartans, really the first team east of the Mississippi, I often say, to win the College World Series, which were in Omaha. We bussed out there and we bussed home. And we never, of course, I don't know. I know we were in the paper. I don't recall the university doing anything for us. But you came in, and 2 years later, after you'd been coaching just 2 years, made sure we all got a national championship ring.
Yeah.
And, I mean, to this day, people ask about my rings. I said, I've got two, a green one and a blue one. And they're extremely meaningful. That championship in 76 was as meaningful to me as the 2005 was to me or to any of my kids, because it was the highest level.
Yeah.
And we were all very proud of it. And, back in the 76 era, they don't even know. They probably didn't even know we won. But they know today.
Yeah. Well, it was very important to me. And I give, our athletic director at the time was Ron Mason, and he was just one of our greatest coaches of all time here in hockey. And, it certainly was a passion very important to me to do, but the fact that they backed it and when we built the stadium, your name is up there. I show all the recruits that anytime we were recruiting against Michigan, which I only won one player. In 29 years, I only beat you on one player. But when they'd come down, I'd always made it a point to point to your name on the wall and said, there's a great Spartan that played here and there. I was like, oh my gosh. And they didn't know and everything. It was always great to have that plaque on the stadium wall of your championship team and all those
it's
players.
meaningful to all of us. And,
it's pretty cool.
We're a great part of the Michigan State history, and I take that seriously.
All right, Hutchie, let's shift gears right here real quick, and let's talk about the uniqueness, if it is, being in the Michigan State Hall of Fame, having had you're the winningest softball coach of all time. Well, I always tell people that I think you're the greatest, one of the greatest coaches, because like you said, I studied coaching. I loved studying coaching. When I came up, I went to 19 straight Women's College World Series, and I used to sneak into the press conferences. So I'm a sport fan, right? I've always been a sport fan.
Yeah.
I think you're one of the greatest coaches of all time, any sport, any gender.
Wow.
Any sport, any gender, I would put your career and you up against that. Talk a little bit about, though, how, I think it's super cool that you're in Michigan State's Hall of Fame with that kind of career at the University of Michigan.
Well, I've been pretty fortunate to be, in some Hall of Fames, but I have to tell you, I would have never thought I'd be at Michigan State, only because as a player there, I'm certainly part of their national championship, but I wasn't one of the best players. I loved playing basketball, and I did pretty good in softball, but I never, and it really never crossed my mind. And so when I got the call from Bill Beekman, I thought, I called you, and I said, why is he calling me? Does he want money? And he said, no, call him.
I said, take the call.
Yeah. So, I say it. I grew up about a mile and a half from Forest Acres Golf Course. I used to ride my bike to pick up golf balls. I only ever wanted to go to Michigan State. And I had a chance in high school to go to Lansing Community College and actually get my tuition paid for to play basketball. I come from a family of 6 kids. My dad's a cop. My mom said, you need to take that, and then maybe you can go to Michigan State. And I said, absolutely not. I want to go to Michigan State now. And how are you going to do that? And I'm like, I don't know. And I wasn't really visionary, but I just didn't worry about those things. And I managed to get to go. I had a lot of softball friends that already were attending, my Lansing Laurels entire infield. And it's all I ever wanted to do. And this beautiful campus and the opportunity to go to Michigan State, I made it happen because I lived at home. I lived in my mom's basement my first 3 years. And then my senior year, I'd learned how to use financial aid. I had part-time jobs. I worked in the summer in addition to playing ball. And I moved on campus in an apartment, which was, really cool. And my mom always said, how are you going to do that? I said, it'll work out. Because I always felt things would work out. You just have to work for them. And the one thing I've learned, which I took into my coaching, and now I take into my little bit of administrative role, we're not going to focus on the obstacles. You need to see the obstacles so you know how to get over it. That's all. But we get caught up in the what ifs and those kind of things. So, but I value my experience here. It was the greatest experience of my life, and that was always one of my. When I'm recruiting you, I'm like, this is going to be the greatest experience of your life, unless you sit in a chair and say, "When's this happening, dude?" Because you're part of it.
Right.
But it should be. It should be your college years. And then, my mom told me years later, you never left college. I said, yeah, you're right. I still haven't left college. I've been in college since I was 18. Why would you?
Exactly.
Why would you? And so when it opened up, when I went through, some assistant coaching and took a head job at Ferris State College for a year as an interim, one of my Michigan State buddies, Kathy DeBoer, hired me. And we had some success, but boy, that team was just really good.
Yeah.
And I just was there to be the, babysitter. But I went over to Michigan, and people were like, how can you go to Michigan? Like, it's a job. It's a good job. And, I knew I had great potential. And I also knew they were further behind than anybody in women's athletics in general. But I didn't care. I'm like, it'll work out. I got paid $3,000 to be the assistant, and you go into it, you don't go into it like, oh, I want to establish a Hall of Fame career. And
right.
You go into it and say, how can I get the snow off the field? We have a game tomorrow. And how can I get them to pay attention to the field? And how can I get uniforms? And, you spent, in our era, we spent the first 10 years for sure just surviving. back from 1985 to early 93, I think is when I felt like we finally were getting support. But
yeah,
I've always respected Michigan State and the opportunity that I had here. And because I view going to college as an opportunity, and I've never thought twice about it. You know, people would come to me on game day in Ann Arbor, who are you rooting for today? And I said, well, my paycheck's blue. And I always, I root for Michigan State in any time we're not playing them.
Let's segue in. I think for whatever reason, you've always been super comfortable just being you. And you could embrace your foibles and appreciate what you were great at the same time. And you've never been a judgmental person about yourself about it. You could embrace, you could laugh at yourself. It goes to that idea. I consider you that, humble and self-deprecating, but not in a contrived way. It's just also sincere and authentic. But I think a lot of people would be well served if they just really realized you're just good at you. You're not trying to be good at anything just to be you.
We're in life. We're trying to be our best self.
Yep.
And you have to embrace yourself. And I mean, I don't know, maybe because I'm the fifth out of six, and my mom had 6 kids in 6 years. So about my time, she didn't have time to do much other than try to keep me from running away. And I just really believe we all are imperfect. And when you own that, when you own yourself, then you can make yourself better. And accept, when I wasn't good at things, I'm like, I need Bonnie, you be good at it. And Jen was really good at it. And we were such a great threesome for so long because we were all three of us, exact opposites. You hire people for a reason and let them do that and help you. And you look at the greatest leaders out there. They're surrounded by people that make them better.
No question.
And I look at that with athletic directors. They need to surround themselves with a really strong leadership team. They talk about these leadership team, but they're putting mid-managers in the level. They're not leaders. And the ADs need to take it, like when they say, we need to do this better.
When we come back with more of this special conversation, the main topic will be what makes Carol Hutchins so special. Back with more in just a moment.
Loading the kids in the car, brokering peace in the back seat, mastering the snack handoff without even looking. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. We work with independent agents who live in your community, know you by name, and answer when you call. They keep insurance simple, so you can worry about more important things, like figuring out what's growing in that cup holder. That's simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
Hi, Margaret. It's Angie. I brought dinner today.
This is the sound of help.
Okay, everyone, story time.
The sound of strengthening communities.
Well, this new insulation really going to save you on utility bills.
The sound of changing lives. Michigan Community Action is a network of agencies helping people achieve greater financial and personal independence through programs such as Head Start preschools, weatherization, food distribution, and utility assistance. The programs supported by Michigan Community Action benefit people all over the state. Maybe you've just lost your job and are having trouble making ends meet. Or maybe you're retired and Social Security isn't enough. Whatever your situation, we may be able to help. Visit MichiganCommunityAction.org or call 855-MI-ACTION to find out more. Helping people. Changing lives. Sponsored by Michigan Community Action and Michigan Broadcasters.
If you served honorably in our nation's armed forces and you're looking for a way to continue serving your fellow veterans in your community, then join AMVETS. AMVETS members volunteer millions of hours at VA healthcare facilities from coast to coast, helping to improve the lives of their fellow veterans through the VA Voluntary Services Program. AMVETS posts and departments also participate in a wide variety of community service projects. If you no longer wear the uniform today, you can still serve through the AMVETS by joining today at amvets.org.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
Did you receive a call or message that mentioned Social Security and demanded immediate action? Did the caller know your Social Security number or other personal information and tell you that your Social Security number had been used in connection with the crime? Did you feel worried that your Social Security number might be suspended, your bank account might be frozen or seized, or you could be arrested? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, demand your personal information, or instant payment, email or text you pictures or documents, or use a real government official's name to gain your trust. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Do not be fooled. Hang up. Ignore them. Report this criminal activity to the Social Security Administration Office of the Inspector General at oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
And welcome back for more of the Sports Life. Will Team in here along with Dalton Shetler. And don't forget, Auto Owners Insurance, simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you. Well, today, a special encore presentation of the Sports Life. It features Carol Hutchins, retired coach, University of Michigan, the best ever when it comes to coaching the sport of softball. And the all-time winningest coach at Michigan State University, her friend for a long, long time, retired coach Jacquie Joseph. Now check out this resume of Carol Hutchins. 22 regular season Big Ten titles, 9 Big Ten tournament titles, 18 regional NCAA championships, 18 times the Big Ten Coach of the Year. As we said, she's won a national championship, and she's also been named the nation's Coach of the Year on 2 occasions. This is an amazing resume for anybody in any sport. And as we get into this second segment, Jacquie Joseph began the whole conversation with one simple question.
Like, why do you think you're just so good? Like, kids love you, parents love you, administrators love you. I mean, you're just got an unbelievable quality that way that people just wanted to come be a part of it.
Well, I never really thought of myself as good, to be honest. I always felt like a little bit of inept and probably just that I got to get better at things, you know, and I just really found that, and you evolve as you go in anything you do. You evolve in your profession. And I think every 5 years I felt like I kind of went to a different level of understanding how to make this go and started having some resources to do it. But you have to be your authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I am what I am. And I certainly have always embraced that I am the least perfect person in the room
Mm-hmm.
because I just have always been like, wow, that was a dumbass thing to do, and I own it. I think more importantly, we are in a people business, and it's really what we love about it more than the game. And I love the game, but I never thought X's and O's were a strength of mine. You know, I was all about, you know, get a good pitcher and field the ball and figure out how to hit it far. But I think more than anything, just, you know, connection is important. And for a long time, I felt I really could connect with my kids because I would be myself and I could light them up on one side and love them up on the other side. And they always knew I cared about them. And the few who didn't, they figured it out eventually, you know. Everybody figures it out. Sometimes it's after they graduate.
Well, I think you nailed it in there. I think there's a humility about yourself. You've always just been, no question, who you are. You've always been authentic. You said that, and I think that's true. I just think there's something really appealing about being around somebody who has your work ethic with your humility. So people could see how hard you were working to get it right rather than be right. And I see so many young people today are afraid to just say, my bad, 2 outs, and be humble to that, to your kids, and be like, yeah, that's my bad. I got that wrong. And I think when you do that, you forge those connections and relationships. I don't think you've ever entered a space that where you thought you were better than anybody else or more important than anybody else. And I think in that, your ability to be humble to that, like, I've got things to learn. Like, in your last year, you were still learning and growing. I mean, in this space now is so different.
There's a lot to learn.
I mean, there's like, it is, I mean, is nothing like it was. And yet I saw you really trying to get it right. And I see a lot of young people today in coaching, they can't own it. They can't just be like, yeah, I screwed that up. That was my bad. I think there's power in that.
Well, you know, it's just fact to me. Yeah. It's just, that is, nobody, getting it right is the number one thing. And you talk about people working hard. A lot of people say, Hutch didn't work hard. You know what? I was never out to outwork you. I just wanted to beat you. And I was smart enough for years knowing that I needed to get away at times or I needed breaks. And as I got older, I felt like an old battery. I needed charging more often. But I see folks with just recruiting every minute and heads in their iPads every minute, and doesn't help them. It's not helping you win. And you have to take care of the rest of your life, because as I asked a coach years ago, before I had gotten to the level I did, I went to shadow a really famous coach and spent a couple of days as I happened to be in the vicinity, and it was great. Talked ball the whole time. Had to talk her into going out to dinner so I could eat and have a beer, because I didn't think that was even going to happen. That was her work ethic. And I finally said, if you don't ever win the national championship, will you feel like you're not successful? Because she had already attained a lot of success. And she looked at me right in the eye and said, absolutely. And I hadn't won a championship. I'm like, wow. I mean, the chance of winning a championship for most people is
zero.
Yeah. Most people don't even go to a World Series or whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't feel that way. My success is my relationships with all my people. And I mean my players, my colleagues, all those people,
Yeah.
my staff. That's what success really looks like. So you have to define your success. And obviously winning on the field is not lost on me.
Sure.
Or winning championships. But, for a long time, I felt like I just had a lot of fun, too. It was fun to be around the kids, fun to make fun of them. I love to make fun of the kids, tease the kids. And
they gave it back to you pretty good.
Well, we played a lot of pranks.
Yeah.
And, and that definitely got harder to do.
Yeah.
Kids don't have a sense of humor anymore.
None.
And I'd still make jokes, and Jen Brundy, God love her, would laugh at them, and the kids would just look at me like I had 7 heads. And but definitely, the challenge is how to get to the kids. And I still believe as coaches we're solution finders. A kid's not performing, what's the solution? Sometimes are we getting the most out of our talent? Some years you're more talented than others. Like, wow, we're really talented, and some days like, oh boy. Well, how can we get them to play at the highest level that they can play at? And that's what you have to judge at the end of the year.
Right.
And you need to step back. You don't judge it the day you lose or the day after. You're raw. We all go through it. You got to step away. And then by midsummer, I could usually start assessing a little bit after a little time away, a little time on the golf course or the beach with a beer. And I'd be like, this is what I think we got to do better.
Right.
And I think that's just my own,
the other thing
my
I
world.
think that contributed as well is your ability to keep your staff. You talk about paying your staff well. You were able to, because people came to get your assistants every year, or they tried
for a long time until it became clear they weren't going anywhere.
You're right, exactly.
Yeah.
But they were the highest paid assistants in the conference as well, because
one of the highest in the country.
Yes,
to be honest.
Yep.
And I was fortunate, as I did fight for a few years. I always fought every time we got a new baseball staff. I'd have to trek over to the building and say, okay, why are they more important than my people? And we'd haggle it out. But, I went through my own disputes and was fortunate that it worked out. And as they paid me and they recognized that they just valued us. And we were fortunate over there. We had this great success. And our ADs did value softball. And they valued me. And that's great, except I want them to just value softball, not just me, because I don't actually coach anymore. And but we've always had to keep pushing. Like, it's never was just like a given that they were going to take care of men and women or whatever.
Right.
And it's
exhausting.
It is. And then, but somebody said this to me a number of times, and I remember it. They just want you to get tired, so you'll stop. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a little break, and I'm going to put my gloves back on. Because we can't get tired. You can't accept it. And you might not be able to get what you want right away. Because the advice I give coaches who are negotiating their contracts, and I give advice. None of it's legally sound, by the way. But
you just play a lawyer on TV.
Right. But I do tell them, always ask for more. Well, really? Because they made a good offer to somebody once. Pretty good offer. So we'll ask for more. Well, and I said, listen, you won't get it, but you're going to get more than you're getting.
Right.
This is, learn.
That's how it works.
Learn from how other people work it, which is the men's side, and they're really good at it.
Yeah.
And and pushing for our own value it's hard. But it's like, well, women don't seem to be as comfortable with that.
No.
And I would have been one of those women until after we'd won the national championship. And long story short, they were going to pay our baseball coach way more than me. And I was at that point, forget it. There's no way I can accept that, because if I accept it, and if I don't make a case, who's going to? It was
That's right.
Unbelievable. And it was a fight. It wasn't comfortable. And powers that be in anything in society will make you feel bad. They'll make you feel greedy. I know a number of women who've been made to feel greedy. If they're not greedy, they don't say that to the guys.
No.
So you just got to get over yourself. Do it for your staff, then do it for the women that are coming after you.
Right. That goes back to my point, is that you didn't have to do that, and you did. And it helped everybody else, because, if you hadn't have done that, if you'd have just taken what was, okay, go over there, that would have just been bad for everybody. I mean,
it changed the market at that time.
Yeah, at that time it did.
That was back in 2007, and the market started climbing. And I do think that was a factor. And I had a lot of phone calls after that. And I'm like, hey, I don't want to hear, but that you just don't want to, you don't feel comfortable.
Right.
You know what?
Well, because it's interesting what coaches say and then what they ask their players to do. We ask our players every day to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of my lessons early, is don't ask them what you're not willing to do yourself.
Yeah.
Don't do that as a coach, right? You model what you're talking about. And so we ask our players every day to be uncomfortable, and you're not comfortable going in to see your athletic director? Like, really?
Well, the athletic directors, to be fair, like to make it uncomfortable. There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
But you just got to see through it.
You just have to see through it.
I get it. Not everybody has that platform, but you have to push. I said sometimes you got to know how hard to push, and sometimes you got to put on the brake for a little bit, because it's not an overnight thing.
No,
it's
no.
But
you got to be able to
tell
read
you
the
right
room.
now, after the World Series, I can't wait to talk to a few of the coaches and pump them up.
Yeah, for sure. One of the issues is just simply equal pay, or reasonable pay, or just, what are we doing in some regards? Why people value what they value, and why don't do the right thing just because they have to wait, for whatever reason. So,
well, I still believe, and we have come so far.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, I didn't have any vision for this. I don't have vision. I was just trying to win a game every day and trying to get practice on the field, and I was trying to get the field watered, to be honest. And now, who could have thought TV and ESPN and stadiums filled with 10,000 people this week, and our own stadium filled with 2,500 people every time we play, and the growth of the game. But I also don't believe that we are still considered with the men. The men are valued at a higher level, and pay is such an obvious. And you can look at how many baseball coaches make more than softball coaches. There's softball coaches who are way more successful, whether it's World Series, Super Regional, number of wins, championships, longevity. But you see in baseball, and you see it in, obviously everybody says, well, basketball and football, their revenue. Well, okay, maybe we can allow for that. I got news for you. Softball has the potential to be more revenue than baseball in the Big Ten. And in the SEC, it would be, but the stadiums aren't as big.
Right.
And revenue comes with TV. And watch TV this week, anybody who doesn't agree with that. And we have higher ratings on ESPN. We have higher ratings on the Big Ten Network. Yet the women aren't valued. And we in athletic departments, and probably in society, this is what we want to pay, because we don't want to pay the women more. Like, we're paying them enough. They have a lot of money. Why aren't they happy? Be happy with that. Which, you know what? I was pretty happy with my salary. But we find the narrative that fits that. So for a long time, I was told, well, you don't have the same number of years. You don't have the same success. You can't make as much as the baseball coach. And then I did. Well, then there's this thing called market value, which how many smoke screens? It's like a shell game.
Yes.
And market value is we value their market more than our market. Why?
Which they create on their own, by the way.
They create it. Yeah. And as much as, we're moving, but you have to push that issue. And I talk to coaches all the time that are trying to figure out how to get there. And with fear of their AD, we'll just look at them and say, you don't like it here, leave. Because they'd say that to the women.
Yeah.
And when the men are leaving, they're like, it becomes their own way to compete. They're like, I don't want to lose this guy. But they don't. I know a lot of women been told, you don't like it, leave.
100%.
Not just in softball, in all women's sports. So the market value is just another smokescreen to say we just value men more. Like men need to make more money. They have families. Well, women have families.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, the reason we have families is because of women. Let me just call that out.
There's that little tidbit.
When we come back with more of this candid conversation between Carol Hutchins and Jacquie Joseph, we're going to have some fun conversation, some good stories, and a look at the future of softball. Back with more in just a moment.
Finding that missing shin guard, remembering whether it's a home or away game, getting the right kid to the right playing field on the right day. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. We work with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like not being that fan.
Oh, come on, Ref.
That's simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
Let's go, Spartans. Let's go Labatt Blue Light. When you drink a pristine Canadian Pilsner, you're good at beer. Spartan fans, grab a Labatt Blue Light, the official import beer of Spartan Athletics, and be good at beer. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer, copyright 2021, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York, all rights reserved. Labatt registered U.S. trademark of Labatt Brewing Company, Limited.
Let me tell you a story about Bill. Bill was a normal guy in his 50s. He had back surgery about 2 years ago. Bill was in a lot of pain. He dealt with his pain by taking the Percocets his doctor prescribed for him. Bill took more and more and more of them to help with the pain, until one day the prescriptions weren't enough to get rid of Bill's pain. Then one day Bill found someone to help him get rid of the pain with illegal drugs he didn't need a prescription for. Fast forward to today. Bill lost his job and his family. The only thing he does have is his drug dealer. If you know Bill's story and you don't want to end up like Bill, call the Detox and Treatment Helpline right now to get away and get treatment.
800-980-1761. 800-980-1761. 800-980-1761. That's 800-980-1761.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
I found hope in the midst of an overwhelming situation.
I let go of trying to control things that I had no control over, and that helped me find peace of mind.
Alcoholism is a disease that can affect any family. Everyone suffers, but there is help and hope at Al-Anon Family Groups.
I was constantly stressed and worried. Now I approach each day with joy and gratitude.
In Al-Anon, families and friends of alcoholics find new ways to heal from the effects of a loved one's drinking.
Al-Anon gave me my life back. I'm a better father and husband.
Are you in an overwhelming situation because of someone else's drinking? Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Local and virtual meetings are available. Maybe one could work for you. For information, call 1-866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
And welcome back for more of the Sports Life. Will Tiemann here, along with Dalton Shetler. Well, we are about to continue our open conversation between two friends and two legendary softball coaches, Carol Hutchins from Michigan and Jacquie Joseph from Michigan State. Now think about the resume of these two combined. In their careers, they coached for 67 seasons collectively, won 2,596 games. So with those kind of seasons and those kind of victories, you got to believe there are some memories worth reliving.
Let's talk about some fun things.
All right.
Give me 5 best memories, moments.
Oh, God.
Give me a few of your highlights.
You would say, well, of course, the national championship. But this is the thing at the championship series. This is my proudest moment as a coach. And it happened twice. And when we won the if game against Tennessee to get into the first ever championship series, which we can talk about my disagreement with how that came down. You and I talked about it the year before. Because I brought to you, I said, we're going to have this 3-game series when we're at the point we can beat a team once. Now we got to beat them twice.
Yeah.
And look at how that came back to, showed me that you were right and I was wrong, which is typical of our lives. But so Stephanie Burkhaw, our number 8 hitter, who came to Michigan from Ohio for hardly any money, but her love was she wanted to go to Michigan. And they took financial aid. She came out and she'd hit the game-winning, RBI home run late in the game. And they asked her if that was her proudest moment or whatever. And she says, my proudest moment is the day I got a chance to go to Michigan. So then we win the whole thing. And we're up on the podium and the ESPN interview post-game. And, Jesse Merchant, a Michigan national champion and a Michigan kid. And they asked Jesse, is this the best thing that's ever happened to you, your greatest moment? Which I think is a dumb question. But anyway, and she looks right at him and says, no. So I look down and I'm like, what in the hell is bigger than this? And she said, putting on my Michigan jersey every day.
Oh.
And you know what? I got nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, again, championships are great. Some of my favorite moments were, I still stay in touch with all the kids that were in my van back in the 2000 era. Kelsey Collin and Megan Doe and Stephanie Volpe.
Oh, your inability to drive is legendary.
Well, I mean, that's legendary. But we had so much fun. And even I'd be mad, pissed off. We lost. One time I ran over the medium. We got 2 flat tires. It was, typical. One time we got done with dinner. We always went out for dinner. We drove back to the hotel and my van get there first. We still talk about this stuff. We have our own group text, the Vannies. We call ourselves the Golden Girls because that was a big TV series, and we're all like, I'm Grandma, of course, and Volpe's Dorothy, and we're at the hotel first, waiting for everybody so I can tell them what to do for the next day, and we're eating the cookies in the lobby, warm cookies, and all of a sudden we look around and we're like, this isn't our hotel, and we all laughed and giggled, and we had chocolate chips on our face, and we jump in the van and roast to the next door hotel, which is ours, and the whole group sitting in there, and they're just laughing because they know we went to the wrong hotel. And I look at them, I said, we did not. I took them out for dessert.
That's hilarious.
It was just,
you got to tell the story of the time you got the van stuck in the parking garage with Stacey Newman, who, by the way, she played at UCLA, an Olympic player. Olympian. But a lot of people didn't know she was from Owasso, Michigan.
Well, her dad was from Owasso, Michigan. Yeah. And somehow I knew that, and I got in wind of it. We knew who she was, and they had a Michigan Block M on their mailbox, and they have a dog named Bo. So I'm like, man, this is a big, big, big recruit, but I got to put my name in the hat, and we got her to come visit. And she gets on campus. There's 2 stories that go with this. And so we all go out to eat. I rent a van because we had a number of kids in, and we get in the van. We got Tom, her dad, and her mom, and her uncle, Tom's twin brother, are all on the visit. And so we drop everybody off. There's probably a couple cars, but I've got the van. And then they go in the restaurant, and I go in the parking garage. Friday night, football Friday in Ann Arbor. What could go wrong? And I'm going up trying to find a spot. We're going. And I do remember seeing these flashing yellow lights on the ceiling, but, I just thought it meant go slower. I don't know what. I'm stuck. Like the van's taller than the building. I'm at the top. And I'm stuck. And I'm not very good at those solutions. I don't know what to do. So I did what you would have done. I just floored it and got out of there. Took off, half the ceiling. Parked the van. I come in. I'm sweating, and I look panicky, and Bonnie looks at me. What's wrong? I said, we have a problem. So, we all have a nice meal. I'm taking everybody out, and I'm like, well, I'm going to have to face the music. I said, you guys, we're going to have to get the van out of here because there's no way I could back out and go down the ramp. Tom Newman says, this is what we're going to do. We put a bunch of the kids in the back of the van, and the Newman family sits on the bumper. And plus we took some air out of the tires, and we roll right out of there, and
that's a classic.
Oh, it was, because that was Friday night, and by Monday I'd turned in the van. I'd forgotten to report it because it was such a long weekend. I forgot. But then the next day we're playing football, and Newman's all excited. We had Tim Biaka-Batuka, really fast guy, and she was running up and down the field, filming them because, we're on the field. And I said, what's it going to take to get you to come here? And she said, you got to win the football game. And I said, we're playing Northwestern. They hadn't beat us in like a long, long time. Guess who won the football game?
No way.
I am not kidding. Not kidding. I'm going to guess that probably wasn't really the deal breaker.
I don't think that was the deal.
I don't either.
She
but,
played at UCLA
I will
for
say
those
that, she went on to be the NCAA home run leader and, an Olympian. But to this day, her dad calls me Crash, and I have a good relationship with Stacy. And I will say their visit, they had her mom, dad, I dropped them off at the airport at like 5 a.m. And they said, we really didn't think this would be a legitimate, choice.
Right.
But, we leave her, I'm telling you, it at least is something I know we'll consider. And I said, well, that's the best I can do. It's all I got.
Yeah.
But
that's a great story, though.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah, your driving is.
Well, I just have a lot of dumb
legendary.
things happen to me, which maybe that's why people like that. But, if something dumb happened, I'm usually the author of it.
So we're going to switch gears here. What do we think needs to be done? What's the state of things? What can we do better? Where do you see things going?
Well, I think when it comes to softball, the people that we need to watch and pay attention to us are the athletic directors, especially in the Big Ten. We need to get on their radar and they see how fabulous it is. They kind of know about it. They hear about it. They hear us say it, but they don't really experience it because it's May. It's almost June. They're just like, they've moved on. But the opportunity that we have in softball and I was asked recently, what would one thing you'd change in the game? I'm like, I would change February. February is not spring. I think that's quoting a really famous Spartan across the table for me. It's why are we playing when Major League Baseball doesn't even have training camp in the South yet? And, it just happened that way. And we can't get on anybody's radar. Baseball, at least, they're just starting regionals. They're 2 weeks ahead of us, but that's 2 more weeks of better weather, which affects our part of the country greatly. And why couldn't we get 4 weeks total and cut out February? Just get rid of it. It's a dumb month to play. It's winter everywhere. We all travel. It's very expensive. Everybody's like, well, we can't afford to keep people on campus. Not everybody would be on campus, and it's still cheaper than traveling.
Way cheaper.
Way cheaper.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
February is not spring. Should be. It's
not softball season, and nobody pays attention to us.
No.
Even in the South, we go play in the SEC. The stadiums aren't full in February.
No.
Because
it's cold there too.
Oh, it's basketball season and so forth. But it's still, we can do better.
Right.
We need to take a look at that. But I think more than anything, that could happen. We need a champion in the championship cabinet, which are athletic directors, and we need them to pay attention. We need to get the ESPN in front of them.
Yeah, no doubt. I couldn't agree more. That's an easy one. When I think about what it was like when I got in it, for me, I believed in my core in the role that athletics played in an educational setting. And what's so heartbreaking for me about the current days is just how academics seems to be the last thing anybody considers when they play sport anymore. And it's all just so short-sighted to me about, trust me, I don't begrudge anybody from transferring. There's always been transfers.
We've always allowed them to transfer.
We've always allowed them. But in classic fashion, they put a rule in place. They blew up our entire industry for 2 sports that just needed to be told to allow players to transfer. Instead, we created this big portal. And the unintended consequences of it are enormous. No one wants to talk about it. And no one's allowed to talk about it because it means you're anti-student athlete. And I'm like, I'm 100% pro-student athlete. I'm just also 100% in favor of academics and their degree. And that I also believe that we're institutionalizing quitting. And I think that quitting is a behavior that you learn. And there's a time and a place to transfer. But right now, people are just doing it for literally no reason.
It's not going my way. This isn't working out well because not everybody's on a different trajectory. Everybody has a different path, and some people come in and start right away and are successful, and then they might take a little, dive.
Yep.
And some people have to work their way into it. And we are part of the educational process, but the system is no longer about the educational
Correct.
process. And the biggest education and the best classroom on campus is on our fields or on our basketball courts or on our whatever fields, where they learn that they are part of something bigger than themselves.
Yes.
And that their job is just like they're going to have when they go in the corporate world. Their job is to make the big picture better. And you have to play a role. And if you don't like your role, you are the one who owns changing it. You have to improve. You have to do what the coach says, as opposed to come back and say, well, the coach doesn't like me and isn't letting me play, and I'm going for greener pastures. And because poaching is at an all-time high, and now we can throw money at them, and now it has blown up the player of the year in all the non-Power 5 conferences. Boom, they're all going in the portal because now they can go bigger, better, and get money and the whole bit. And being a coach at that level, what are we going to do when they don't have that sport anymore? Because they can't sustain success. They can't sustain a team. But being part of a team is the greatest learning experience when kids go out into the world. And that's why for years we've recruited, from football programs and then the men's sports, because we knew what a great work ethic and how they knew how to attain success when they played college sports. And now we've seen women getting recruited by the same type of corporations. But are they learning anything when every team in the World Series has minimum of 6 transfers except Stanford?
I know.
And, and
Isn't
that's
that
the new
telling?
thing. People are like, well, Hutch and Jackie, you're old. That's the new world. Live with it. Make it work. Yeah, we do have to make it work, because that's how you get instant success. You get somebody's best experienced player and you put them on your team.
Right.
But
well, the cost though, what we have to give up, and like you, it's like, yeah, we have to adapt. I mean, any coaching today has to understand, and adapt. And I get it, but at what cost? And that's what makes me sad, honestly, is just you give up all that, because I just knew that all of the women, including myself, what they got out of that experience, that perseverance that you hang on to the rest of your life.
Persistence. Overcoming adversity.
Yes.
Or some of my favorite players who really never played, but they fulfilled their role. They're in my cell phone. They contact me. We have lifelong relationships, and
they're killing life.
They're killing life. They're winning life.
They're winning life. They're killing it, and that's what I worry about. I want to know what is the next thing that's going to prepare them for what you and I know to be life, if not through sport. Like sport was and is supposed to be that great preparer for life. All things life, right? Death, divorce, changing job, change. Yeah. Getting ready for change might be the single biggest thing we teach, is your ability to roll with change. And now we're circumventing that. And that's what I worry about, is how are we preparing our young people for what you and I know they're going to need?
Well, that's what the educational process has been. And now, I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, eventually they'll get there. Maybe we're just slowing it down. Maybe they'll get there somehow.
They'll learn some hard life lessons.
Hard knocks,
early on.
Or you're going to have just a whole generation of people living in their parents' basements. I don't know which one will happen first. But anyway, I've really, really enjoyed this. I adore you, always have.
Well,
you're one of my best friends. Thank you, Hutchie.
Hey, thank you.
And safe travels.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
So there you have it, an authentic conversation between two friends and great competitors. Two of the best in the sport of softball. Carol Hutchins of the University of Michigan and Jackie Joseph from Michigan State. When we come back, our parting shots in just a moment.
Loading the kids in the car, brokering peace in the back seat, mastering the snack handoff without even looking. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. We work with independent agents who live in your community, know you by name, and answer when you call. They keep insurance simple, so you can worry about more important things, like figuring out what's growing in that cup holder. That's simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
To a child, there's nothing like the smell of breakfast in the morning before school. To a senior citizen, there is nothing like a good hearty meal for supper. For everyone, there is nothing that makes you feel more secure than knowing where your next meal is coming from. Unfortunately, 1 in 8 Michigan families struggle to put food on the table, and 1 in 6 children are at risk of hunger. This is unacceptable. I'm Karima Alamini, the Executive Director of the Food Bank Council of Michigan. Our annual Michigan Harvest Gathering is the largest statewide food and fund drive. This year, our goal is to raise $1 million and 300,000 pounds of food to address the needs of Michigan's hungry children and families. When you donate to the Michigan Harvest Gathering, we stretch your dollar. With us, $1 buys 5 meals, and that can mean the difference of a child going hungry tonight. Please join us in our fight against hunger. Go to www.feedmichigan.org or call 1-800-552-4483.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind.
As an adult, kids want to know you're listening to them, but they also want to listen to you. When it comes to alcohol, they want to know your expectations and how and why to avoid underage drinking. Talking early and often about it in everyday conversations reinforces your message and keeps lines of communication open. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
I'll be by your side.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
Chris Domine is a husband, father, an athlete, even an Ironman. But 10 years ago, Chris's kidneys were failing.
The doctor said if you don't get a kidney transplant, you are going to die.
Chris received a second chance, made possible by an organ donor.
Your well-being changes from loss of hope to better times ahead.
What could you make possible as an organ, eye, and tissue donor? Leave behind the gift of life. Go to organdonor.gov. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
When the forgotten poor are in need of healing, they wait for a ship unlike any other. Mercy Ships, a floating hospital staffed by volunteers, heroes of mercy who donate their time to save lives.
Every human has the right to have a place at the table of the human race.
If you could just see the smiles that you get when lives have been changed, then it would make it all worth it.
To learn more about Heroes of Mercy, go to mercyships.org.
And welcome back for more of the Sports Life. We'll team here along with Dalton Shetler, and what a show we have had for you today. What a great conversation between two legends, Carol Hutchins and Jacquie Joseph. And with that, we have now worked our way to our parting shots.
Well, and if anybody missed that conversation between those two legends, make sure you give us a follow on Twitter or X at SportsLifeNow. That's again at SportsLifeNow. We'll have the conversation, the entire show, posted right there for you. But for parting shots, I just really kind of wanted to highlight one of the things about this interview that made it so special. How often do you get to hear one of the greats of all time talk about stories on recruiting visits of getting vehicles, buses, stuck in a parking garage? I mean, I just really wanted to take a moment to appreciate the authenticity we got to hear there and just how real it was. It really was an awesome conversation to listen into.
And the thing that struck me as I was watching Jacquie and Carol talk, this sounds strange and maybe to admit this, but I was in awe of just watching these two and what they represent. So I hope you enjoyed the show today. We should also note that you can find us wherever you find your podcasts like SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple. And make sure to check us out and hit subscribe. As always, thanks to the Big Ten Network. The Sports Life is produced by Dalton Shetler. Our executive producer is Wendy Hart. So on behalf of Dalton, I'm Will Tiemann, and thanks for your time.